What's up guys, I'm Mason Ortiz and this is MTG Budget Brew. Today I have another great budget deck for you using only 4 rare cards. For today's deck, I've built around Queen Allenal of Ruadach, so let's hop right into it. First we have 3 copies of Queen Allenal of Ruadach. A green and 2 white for an elf noble, whose power and toughness are each equal to the number of creatures you control. The card also says, if one or more creature tokens would be created under your control, those tokens plus a 1/1 white soldier creature token are created instead. So this is a Selesnya token deck, and our game plan is really simple. It is to go super wide, and then we take all the creatures that we've built up and we just throw them at our opponent's face. And so far, it's actually been working out pretty well. But yeah, that's the whole plan. Let's go take a look at the cards that can help us make some tokens. First up, we have 4 copies of Doomed Traveler. 1 white mana for a 1/1 human soldier that says, when it dies, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. Next is 3 copies of Haazda Marshal. 1 white mana for a 1/1 human soldier that says, whenever Haazda Marshal and at least 2 other creatures attack, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. After that, we have 3 copies of Hunted Witness. 1 white mana for a 1/1 human that says, when Hunted Witness dies, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. Lastly, we have 4 copies of Resolute Reinforcements, which is a new card from Dominaria United and has been a great addition to the deck. For 1 and a white, you get a 1/1 human soldier with flash that says, when Resolute Reinforcements enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. The next card we have is probably my favorite card in the entire deck. We have 4 copies of Ropeline Attendant. Ropeline Attendant is like the bouncer for our deck. It determined what cards were allowed into the deck, and what cards had to go wait outside in the cold just looking for a reason to be useful. Like, it really changed my deck list. Ropeline Attendant is so good that I didn't want to run instants and sorceries like Join the Dance or Raise the Alarm to generate tokens anymore. So, what is Ropeline Attendant? It is a green and a white for a 2/2 cat citizen that says, when Ropeline Attendant enters the battlefield, creature cards in your hand perpetually gain. When this creature enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. This turns every creature in our deck into token generation. It is incredibly good. It pairs very well with our queen, and it just makes our other token generators even better. Like, it's just great. The ability stacks as well, so if you do happen to have 2 Ropeline Attendants and you get to play both, whatever creature cards you had in your hand, they'll now generate 2 tokens on their ETB. And it's just super powerful for our deck. Okay, so now let's take a look at the creatures in our deck that don't normally generate tokens. We have 3 copies of Elvish Visionary for a bit of card draw. It's 1 and a green for a 1/1 elf shaman that says, when Elvish Visionary enters the battlefield, draw a card. We then have 4 copies of Paradise Druid for some mana fixing, because our queen does have 2 white mana pips in her cost, making her slightly more challenging to get out on curve. So 1 and a green for a 2/1 elf druid that says, Paradise Druid has hexproof as long as it's untapped, and then you can tap it to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. The hexproof on Paradise Druid is extremely useful when paired with another card that we have further down the list. I'll make sure to mention it again when we do reach that card. But before that, we have 2 copies of a card that has had a huge impact on our games since adding it to our deck. That card is Rumor Gatherer, 1 and 2 white for a 2/1 elf wizard that says, Alliance. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, scry 1. If this is the second time this ability has resolved this turn, draw a card instead. The version of the deck that I'm showcasing to you right now is actually version number 8 of my Queen Allenal decks, and I can't tell you how much of an impact running this card has made. Like, it really allows us to dig through our deck in a way that's just invaluable. Another card that has been a welcome change to the deck is 2 copies of Worldsoul Colossus. It costs X, a green and a white for a 0/0 elemental with Convoke. Convoke says your creatures can help cast a spell. Each creature you tap while casting the spell pays for 1 colorless mana or 1 mana of that creature's color. Worldsoul Colossus enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. So Worldsoul Colossus is a great way to get even more use out of our really wide board. It essentially turns every single one of our creatures into a mana dork, which is a great way to develop another big threat on our board other than our queen, because our creatures are small, and prior to adding Worldsoul Colossus, our only big body was our queen. So this gives us an opportunity to develop another large creature. It has been a very pleasant addition. Prior to this, I hadn't actually used Convoke on MTG Arena before, and if you haven't either, then you probably haven't seen the animation before, and I just think it looks really nice when you use Convoke. So I'll make sure to add some gameplay with it. We're now nearing the end of the deck, and so far I have shown you 32 creature cards, but the final 6 in our list are the non-creature cards that we'll use to run over our opponents and win the game. First, we have 4 copies of Appeal to Authority. The first staff is 1 green mana for a sorcery that says, until end of turn, target creature gains trample and gets +X/+X, where X is the number of creatures you control. So it's a massive pump spell that also gives trample, which is, super useful. The second half of this card is 1 and a white for a sorcery with Aftermath, which means it can only be cast from a graveyard and then it becomes exiled. But it says, tap up to 2 target creatures your opponents control. Creatures you control gain vigilance until end of turn. This half is very useful in lots of different scenarios. It's useful when we need to tap down blockers to connect for lethal. It allows us to swing out without having to worry about the clapback. And earlier I mentioned that Paradise Druid's Hexproof pairs really well with another card. This is that card. Paradise Druid's Hexproof makes it the ideal target when you plan to use both Appeal and Authority. Because Appeal will make it massive, but because Authority will give our Druid Vigilance, that means it won't become tapped when we swing with it, making it extremely hard for our opponents to deal with. After that, we are also running 2 copies of Pride of Conquerors, 1 and a white for an instant with Ascend. Ascend says if you control 10 or more permanents, you get the city's blessing for the rest of the game, which our deck can do fairly easily. But the rest of the card says creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. If you have the city's blessing, those creatures get +2/+2 until end of turn instead. Turning our board from a bunch of 1/1s into a bunch of 3/3s and then swinging out is usually good enough to win the game. Now to close out the deck, we are running 11 plains, 9 forests, and 2 copies of Botanical Plaza, which says Botanical Plaza enters the battlefield tapped. Tap it to add a green or white mana, and we can also pay 2, a green and a white, to tap and sacrifice Botanical Plaza to draw a card. So that is the entire deck. I will leave a copy of it down in the description for you guys. But now let's take a quick look at my stats with the deck and then hop into some gameplay. So here we can see on my untapped account, I am currently 20-10 with the deck and have a win rate percentage of 67%, 53% on the play and 91% on the draw. 30 matches isn't a ton, but that's just 30 matches with this, the final version of the deck. Across all my other versions, I have a total of 67 matches with Queen Allenal, which still isn't a ton. I just want to show you guys that I was able to maintain my win rate, as you can see on the screen, while I attempted to record gameplay footage and was even taking unnecessary losses trying to get a good Convoke clip. Okay, I'll let myself continue. But I feel so confident with this particular list that I feel comfortable enough to not only share the deck with you guys, but to recommend that you give it a try. I think it is well worth the wildcards. Speaking of which, crafting this deck from scratch would only cost you 12 common wildcards, 24 uncommon wildcards, and 4 rare wildcards. So now let's hop into some games and see how this deck performs. Right, here we are in game 1, and our opening hand is looking pretty good. We got turn 2 Ropeline Attendant, so yeah, we're definitely going to keep. We have Botanical Plaza, which is a good pickup here because we don't have a turn 1 play. Our opponent plays a Cold Steel Heart, okay. Oh man, we got the double Ropeline Attendant. Alright, so I'm going to drop a forest here. We'll drop our Ropeline Attendant, and we're going to buff 4 of our creatures. Look at that. Look at that. When this creature enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. When we play Resolute Reinforcements, we're now going to get 3 bodies on the field. If we're really lucky, we'll pick up another 1-drop for our hand. Maybe like a Hunted Witness, the Haazda Marshal, Doom Traveler, any of those guys. If we could hit any of those for our next draw, we'd be in a great spot. We hit an Elvish Visionary. That's okay. I could actually just go into the Rumor Gatherer and then next turn play out 2 2-drops. I think I'm actually going to go with the Rumor Gatherer instead. So when I play her, she's actually going to trigger herself now that she has been affected by Ropeline Attendant, and we get to scry. So we can guarantee that we pick up a 4th land. So that's pretty good. We'll connect for 2 and then pass. Right now, we're feeling good. Our board is about to go super wide, and we already have an Appeal to Authority in our hands. Oh, wow. Our opponent played a Mind Flayer. 3 and 2 blue for 3/3 horror. When it enters the battlefield, gain control of target creature for as long as you control Mind Flayer. So we're going to drop our second Ropeline Attendant. Again, buff our hand. I'll just drop an Elvish Visionary here. We'll draw an additional card. Okay, it's a Hunted Witness. That's not bad. No attacks yet, and then we'll pass the turn. Opponent plays a Leyline of the Void. If a card would be put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, exile instead. That's perfectly fine. We're going to drop Resolute Reinforcements. Going to player Hunted Witness because we don't have enough mana to use Authority as well. So we'll drop Hunted Witness, and then we will appeal. Let's see, does it matter which one we go with? I'll just pick one of our tokens. No, I'll pick this Ropeline Attendant. And from here, I'm just going to swing with the Ropeline Attendant, I think. I don't think there's any point in losing 2 more of our creatures just to connect for like another 3 damage. So I'll just swing the Ropeline and hope our opponent doesn't have some kind of removal for it with their 2 mana that they still have up. They have an unsummon, so that sucks. But if you notice, I picked the Ropeline Attendant that had already been affected by Perpetual. So when we go to replay this one, we will get an additional token onto the field. Our opponent played Curse of Leeches. As this permanent transforms into Curse of Leeches attached to a player, at the beginning of enchanted player's upkeep, they lose 1 life and you gain 1 life. Opponent also plays Runo Stromkirk. 1/4 flying. When it's battlefield, put up to 1 target card from a graveyard on top of your library. At the beginning of your upkeep, look at top card of your library. You may reveal that card. If a creature card with mana value 6 or greater is revealed this way, transform it. Let's see. Okay, I don't really care. We're just gonna play a land. Let's see, we have 5 mana now. That is enough for us to play Ropeline Attendant. Creates us 2 more bodies. We can now play Appeal. We will target Resolute Reinforcements. We don't actually get to use the other side of Authority. So we're going to go ahead and play Paradise Druid. And we're going to pretend that that was my plan the entire time, except this creature is smaller than it should be now. Alright, we're going to swing out. If our opponent doesn't have a board wipe, then we'll kill in 2 turns. Because I don't think we have lethal with this board. And probably not. But counting is for blockers. So, I mean, we'll find out. We either win right now or it takes 1 more turn and we swing out. Again, hopefully our opponent just doesn't have some kind of board wipe in the next turn. Because if not, then we're looking really good. Even with my misplay of, you know, not calculating that Authority would be put into exile and then playing Paradise Druid late, we only would have connected for like another 3 damage with if we had played Paradise Druid prior to us playing Appeal. And that's just it. That was good enough anyway. I didn't get to say good game, but that's 1 game down. Okay, so our opening hand is looking pretty solid. We have Queen in hand, which is great. I'll be able to showcase her, and we even have the mana to cast her, so we're gonna keep this hand. It's very solid. Let's see. Hopefully we can pick up a Ropeline Attendant. That'd be really nice. Pick up another Plains, that's fine. Player Hunted Witness. Our opponent played a Jungle Hollow, okay. Oh, okay. Our opponent is a Death Touch deck. Our play doesn't change though. We Hunted Witness into Paradise Druid. Next, no attacks, end turn. Okay, our opponent foretells a card. More than likely, it's a Poison the Cup. So whatever we play now, kind of expect it to die, which is not good. It makes me not want to play our Queen out just yet. I could play out our Worldsoul Colossus. It wouldn't be very big. It'd only be a 3/3. But I think it's almost the better play. So here you'll get to see how the Convoke works. All right. So we'll pay 3. This is going to make our Paradise Druid vulnerable. But, alright. It's fine because we have the mana for our Queen already. So we'll hit auto pay. And that was the animation. I think it looks a lot better when we have a lot more creatures. But again, we just don't. And I don't think we can afford to build our board up bigger with Queen, because I think she's just going to die this turn. So we'll see if Worldsoul Colossus lives. If he does, I might have been wrong. And it might not be a Poison Cup up here. I was wrong. It was a Vengeful Reaper. Okay, this is fine. I'm going to play Queen Allenal. We're going to play Paradise Druid. We are not going to attack. And we're going to see if they start swinging with Finn. Opponent plays Cheville, Bane of Monsters, 1/3 Death Touch. At the beginning of your upkeep, your opponents control no permanents with bounty counters on them. Put a bounty counter on target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. Whenever a permanent an opponent controls with bounty counter on it dies, you gain 3 life and draw a card. Okay, so let me try and think about how much damage we can do right now. So we have 6. We can give our queen +6/+6. That's 12, 13, 14, 15, 19, 21. We have exactly lethal with Appeal to Authority, unless my math is wrong. So, right. I put on Paradise Druid. Our opponent doesn't have any mana available, so it shouldn't really matter what creature I put it on. But we swing in, and that's just game. All right, good game, opponent. That was a quick one. Here we are in a match, and our opening hand would have been really nice looking if we had a plains, but because we don't, I got a mulligan. Feels a little bad, but from here, all right, from here we look all right. We can throw back a Pride of Conquerors, and it doesn't affect us too badly. So turn 1, we'll Doom Traveler. Turn 2, we'll probably Elvish Visionary, get a little draw, get a little deeper into the deck, and see what else we can pick up. Our opponent is playing a Temple of Plenty, so they might also be a Selesnya deck. We pick up Rumor Gatherer, which is pretty nice considering that we do have the double planes that we need to play it. But I am just going to still go with an Elvish Visionary this turn. Play that, we draw a card. We pick up Pride of the Conquerors back, so that's nice. So we do have a finisher for the deck. Next turn, I'm definitely looking at Rumor Gatherer, and then the turn after, we can play our Resolute Reinforcements, which will trigger Rumor Gatherer and allow us to draw a card. Our opponent is not just playing a Selesnya deck. They're running dragons, actually. So that's pretty scary. Fearsome Whelp kind of puts us on a clock. So we're going to swing in for another 2, set our opponent at 17. We pick up the Appeal, which is really nice. So for 5 mana, we can make our board like insanely huge. I don't think that I've seen a lot of dragon decks run very much removal, which is good. Alright, they just play an Orb Dragon Kind. They can tap, add 1 mana of any color. Then mana spent on dragon creature, it gains haste until end of turn. Okay, so we gotta move quickly. I think I still have to wait 1 turn though. I think next turn, hopefully, okay, look, we can guarantee that we pick up a land, which is exactly what we need, because we need 5 mana to cast both sides, Appeal, Authority, and Pride of Conquerors next turn. So right now, we're going to swing in for 4, and then hopefully next turn, we'll swing for game. We'll play our land. I resolve that. We'll play our land. We will buff up one of our creatures with Appeal. We will Authority down any of his blockers, and then we'll buff our board into 3/3s, because we will have just enough to get the City's Blessings. Our opponent plays a Mirim Sentinel Worm. It has flying, has Ward 2, which means it'll cost us 2 of our mana to tap it down, 2 additional mana to tap it down with Authority. Let me see, if I just Appeal an Authority, is that enough? Let's see, we'd have enough mana just for that. We have 1, 2, 4, 5, 6 damage on the board. We gave a creature +5/+5. That is just enough. Unless my math is wrong. We'll see right now. Okay, so we will Appeal. Let's pick the Elvish Visionary. Sure. Authority. Yep. I'm sure I want to pick the Worm. He has Ward 2. Resolve. Auto pay the other 2. We'll tap him down. The Whelp. And we swing. And that's game. That's turn 5 win against dragons. All right. That was pretty good. That was another quick one. Here we are in another game. Our opening hand. Not the greatest, but I think we can make it work. So we'll start with the Paradise Druid. Next turn, we can dump our hand a little bit. We can Resolute Reinforcements and Paradise Druid. Our opponent is playing a Mutate deck. Okay, we pick up another Forest. So yeah, I'm just going to drop Paradise Druid and Resolute Reinforcements. And then maybe try to hope that we can double Appeal to Authority, like back to back across 2 turns, and like try to win that way. Because right now we don't have very much gas in our hand, which is unfortunate. Our opponent just cultivates, which is good. They're not applying any pressure to us yet. We pick up a Haazda Marshal, which is a pretty decent pickup here, actually. So I am going to cast an appeal right here. Sure, we'll throw it on Paradise Druid, even though she will become tapped. Oh, although, no, wait, how much are we swinging for? They got, what, +5/+5. We can make this one a 7, 14, 15, 16. We can swing for 16 this turn. Yeah, no, we'll just swing for what we have. We'll end the turn, and I think next game, or not next game, next turn, we might just have lethal with our second appeal. If our opponent doesn't wipe any creatures from our board, and if they just play out a creature on their side of the field, then we kind of just win. Terror of the Peaks, it deals 3 damage to me, right? Yes, whenever your opponent casts spells your opponent's cast at target, Terror of the Peaks costs an additional 3 life to cast. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under control, Terror of the Peaks deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target. Yeah, we just win the game. So I can appeal, select Paradise Druid, we will authority, we will select Terror of the Peaks, we will take the 3, swing out, and that's just game. And we even create another token. Turn 4 win. There's a lot of turn 4 wins that I've had in these past few games trying to record for you guys. Well, that's going to about wrap up the video. I hope you enjoyed the deck list and decide to give it a try for yourself sometime. If you enjoy building decks, watching the process, or even just enjoy watching arena gameplay, you should come join me over on my Twitch. I stream most evenings starting at 5:30 Pacific Standard Time, but we'll also regularly start doing 12-hour streams about once a week for historic Brawl decks. So if you'd like to see more content from me and possibly even see what deck my next video will be about, I'll leave a link in the description for you. If you do try this deck, please let me know down in the comments how it did for you. I'd really love to know. And if there's a card that you'd like to see me build a deck around, you can also leave that down below in the comments and I'll see what I can do for you. I plan to start doing giveaways on the channel very soon for my subscribers, so keep an eye out for that. And if you aren't a subscriber yet, you should consider becoming one. I would really appreciate it, and if you happen to win the giveaway, you'll get some free packs for Arena, which isn't too bad if you ask me. Okay, well, that's about all I have to say, so I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.